Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm here today with a bit of a different video for me, but one that I am very excited for. Today we are going to be reading Shakespeare, like retellings or books that are heavily inspired by Shakespeare, basically. The first one we're going to read is Foul is Fair by Hannah Capin. This, I believe, is a Macbeth retelling, or like a novel inspired by Macbeth, told from the point of view of a group of girls in university, I believe. I don't know much other than that. I'm assuming there's going to be like death, because there's, you know, quite a bit of that in Macbeth. So I'm assuming that's going to occur at some point. So this is the first one that we're going to read. I actually started this a couple of years ago, but I only read like 10 pages and I was reading so many books at the time, so I put it to one side. But now I've got time to actually dedicate to reading this one. I do like Macbeth as a play. I do like Shakespeare. If you don't know, I do have an English degree and I used to be an English teacher, so I am quite familiar-ish with Shakespeare, but I don't tend to read like classics or anything like that. I feel like if I say I like Shakespeare, people assume I then like classics. I don't really. But we're gonna try reading like modern Shakespeare retelling. Hello, I am in my pajamas, so do excuse that. I have literally just got out of bed and walked straight in here to film this. But I think I'm going to finish this book this morning, so I wanted to speak to you before I finished it, because I don't think I've really updated very much. I'm still reading Foul is Fair. I did have to pause a little bit because the new Hunger Games book come out, and I read that for another video. So go watch that video to see me read that. But I'm back to this now, and I am on page 244. I've only got that much left. So I'm going to try and finish it if I can this morning, but if not, definitely later on today after work. Can't lie, I'm not loving it. I was really enjoying this. At the beginning, I was like, this is going to take some getting into. Then in the middle, I was really intrigued, really enjoying it. And now I'm just not. Like, this book is a weird mix. I can't remember if I fully explained what it's about. Basically, our main character, Elle, something bad, like really bad, happened to her and she wants revenge. And this book is her getting her revenge. And it's inspired by Macbeth. So a lot of the character names, mainly, are inspired by Macbeth. And also a few of the things that happen, like some quotes and things, are inspired by Macbeth. I'm just not loving it. It's a weird mix of like, some things that happen are really unrealistic, and it's like, in the real world you would just get caught for that, like you wouldn't get away with that. But then some things are so ordinary that it's like, can we not ramp it up a bit? And it's a weird one to discuss because of the nature of what happened to her. I would definitely look up trigger warnings if you want to read this, because what happened to her is a sensitive thing. Like, it's weird because, like, who am I to say how people should respond to that happening to them? But also, this is fiction. And I think in fiction, you've got, obviously, that more creative control over how characters react to things and what happened. I don't know. I'm just not loving this, unfortunately. I'm liking it, like it's fine, but I'm just not loving it. The way that it's written as well, it's like half the time, what are you even saying? Like, what are you trying to say? I feel like the author has tried a bit too hard to write this in like a clever way, and it's just not coming across that clever, because I don't know what's going I don't know what's going on sometimes. Not that I don't know what's going on, but just like I don't know what meaning she's trying to convey to me sometimes with the language that she uses. It's a bit too obscure, and then you just go straight back to like normal teenage girl language. I don't know. I'm gonna go finish this now anyway, and I'll speak to you later when I'm looking more ready than this and I'm not sat here in my pajamas. But I just wanted to give you an update before I just go and finish it, and like don't even film me reading anything of this book. Now finished Foul is Fair, and I'm a bit conflicted. I am conflicted. I think I'm going to settle on a 2.75. I originally was going to rate this a 3, but it just felt too high. Like it's just not on par with other 3-star books in terms of how much I enjoyed this. And my thoughts on this are so conflicted. So let's start with the fact that it's a Macbeth retelling. I like that.
I like how it was very similar to Macbeth. I think if you weren't that, for like, I've taught Macbeth to quite a high level class in a lot of detail, so I'm quite familiar. I don't remember everything about it obviously, but I'm quite familiar with like a lot of the nuances in Macbeth, and I feel like if you weren't, you could read this book and like still understand it. It doesn't rely on Macbeth, I don't think, for you to understand it. You might think a few things are a bit weird, but I'm familiar with Macbeth and I also thought a lot of this was weird, so I don't think that makes much of a difference. I like that. I like the retelling aspect, because obviously that is what this video is. We are reading Shakespeare inspired books. I liked the Shakespeare inspirations that were drawn on here, the theme of the three witches, the idea of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, the names of the characters, all of the little nods to Macbeth I enjoyed. It kind of ended there. So I like the idea behind this. Again, I don't want to go into too much detail because I went into this like completely blind and I enjoyed that. But just to give you a rough idea, like a very rough, vague idea, our female main character is supposed to be Lady Macbeth, and the boy that she, I was going to say falls in love with, enlists as her partner is supposed to be Macbeth. Where that didn't really work, and I was like battling with this in my head and I couldn't really understand it, and then I read some reviews on this book and somebody else encapsulated it perfectly when I read their review on Goodreads, or was it on Fable? Can't remember. Anyway, credit to someone else for having this idea. Is that in the play Macbeth, obviously Lady Macbeth and Macbeth have been married for years, so she has had years to build up this like notion in his head and to build up the trust between them. Whereas in this book, we're supposed to believe that that happens in a day. We're supposed to believe that this teenage boy in the space of a day is absolutely head over heels for this girl and will do literally anything for her. It's just, and I get this isn't supposed to be realistic, and again, this is where a lot of my problems lie, is that a lot of the things I didn't enjoy about this is the fact that the book isn't realistic, but then it's not supposed to be. So is it fair of me to be like, this was unrealistic? I don't think this is supposed to be. You know, it's not a novel of realism, is it? Like, it's supposed to be far-fetched. But it was just, I don't know. I feel like we could have had the far-fetched story but made the characters feel a bit more real and made the bonds between them more believable, personally. So that was one aspect that I just didn't completely love about this. I also didn't love the ending. Obviously, I'm not going to say what it was, but I didn't feel like it was like an impactful woo yeah revenge ending for me. But I get that everyone's going to feel differently about that. Just for me, I just would have wanted a different, like the very, very ending, I would have wanted that to be different, personally. And there were just like a few little things that I can't mention because they're kind of spoilers that I didn't love in here that happened. Overall, I can appreciate that. I would say this is well written. There were times where I feel like scenes ended too quickly or too much time was spent on things that didn't matter, but ultimately I think the pacing was good. It's a very fast-paced book. It takes place over the space of around, I think it's about 10 days-ish. So it's longer than a Shakespeare play, which tend to happen over like 24 hours, but not long. Like, it's only 10 days and it's not a very long book. So it did go by quite quickly. It took me a few days to read it because I was dipping in and out of this and other books, but ultimately it was quite a quick read, and I think overall it was well paced. But there were some scenes where I just wanted more. Like, I wanted them to carry on. I wanted to know a bit more. I wanted to dig a bit deeper. I feel like this book is a weird mix of, you kept on the surface because the language used can be so like baffling that you can't actually dig into it and really understand what anyone is doing or thinking or feeling. But then on the other hand, there's like so many metaphors and I don't know, I feel like sometimes maybe the author tried a little bit too hard to use clever language, and it maybe sometimes kind of backfired in that I was like, I don't actually know what you're trying to tell me here. Metaphor is only really effective if we as the reader can pick up what you're putting down. Like, it's not really effective if no one knows what's going on. But ultimately I would say this is well written. It was definitely clever. There were definitely stylistic choices made in here. The author didn't just get an idea of a story in her head and wrote it. She clearly thought about how she wrote it. And yeah, I enjoyed that. But ultimately, I just didn't love this. I just didn't. Somewhere between a 2.75 and a 3. I don't hate it, I'm not angry at it, but I just wanted to love it a little bit more than I did, unfortunately. So that is the first book done for this video. I'm just going to go grab the next book that we're going to read because I am going to start it now when I get in the bath. So I'm just going to go grab that and we'll talk a little bit about it, even though I don't really know anything about it. So the next book we're going to read for this video is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. And I know very little about this. This is different from Fowley's Fair. So this is a clear Macbeth retelling. This I don't think is. I think this is more just Shakespeare inspired. I think I mentioned earlier that basically I think the characters in here are like obsessed with Shakespeare and like studying him. And I think they are reenacting Shakespeare plays. But some of the dialogue in here is like them in character as Shakespeare's characters. So I think a lot of what you learn about the characters and their relationships and the motivations and about the plot of the book, I think is through them acting in Shakespeare plays, which I find that concept really interesting. This is also a dark academia. So whereas Fowley's Fair is definitely more of a thriller, this is a dark academia, which I'm yet to find a dark academia book that I really like. I've read, not loads, but a fair few. I've read The Secret History, I've read The Atlas Six, I've read Ninth House, and I didn't love any of them. So I am nervous in that aspect, but I know a lot of people that don't really read dark academia that read this and loved it and gave this like 4 stars and up. So I am hopeful that this may be a bit of a different dark academia. I think it's the Shakespeare twist is, I think a lot of dark academias have that like Shakespearean element, but I think in here it's a bit more prominent, which maybe helps. So I am excited for this. I have no idea what it's about. The first line of the blurb: Oliver Marks has just served 10 years for a murder he may or may not have committed, so we're off to a great start. I do kind of want to go in blind. I'm not sure I really want to read all of the blurb. I just like to go into books blind nowadays, going with absolutely no expectations, but I do tentatively have high hopes for this. So as I said, I'm gonna go have a bath now and I'm gonna make a start on this one. I probably won't get a massive, oh, it's written in scenes, like the actual book seems to be written in acts and scenes. That's very interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna go get in the bath. I don't think I'm gonna read a massive amount of this night because I am exhausted. I'm so tired. I went to London yesterday, which I filmed a tiny bit of for my trying to find a 5-star read. I have no idea what order my videos are going up in this month, not a clue. I think that one might be going up first, but anyway, irrelevant. I'm very tired, so I probably won't read a massive amount of this, but I'm gonna make a start on it while I go and have a bath, and I will probably chat to you at some point tomorrow and let you know what I am thinking of this so far. I'm going to make this quick because look at the state of me. I filmed clips for this video when I actually looked nice earlier today, but I'm so dim that I had it on front camera, but I was trying to film on the back camera. So all you can see is my car, like dashboard. Hello everyone, it is Saturday. Have I already spoke to you today? Honestly don't know. But it's Saturday anyway, and I'm in Lincoln. I'm actually about to set off home. The clips you'll have just seen of me shopping in Lincoln. If We Were Villains, I was listening to it all the way here because I had a couple of hours left on Spotify for audiobooks. I've now run out, so unfortunately I can't listen to it on the way home, but I'm loving it. I'm literally loving it so much. I love even though I've never been to the theatre, by the way, so I'm not like, I love Shakespeare, but I've never been to see a play, I've just read them, but I love the conversations that the characters are having about theatre and about the plays and the characters and the meaning of everything. Like, it's just so interesting to me as a bit of an English nerd, them like analysing the characters, using the quotes. Like, it's just, I love it. And I also didn't realise that, I don't think it's a massive part of this book, but one of the plays that they do in this book is Macbeth, so that kind of crosses over with Fowley's Fair, so it was really interesting. So that's stunning. Basically what I was saying is, I've been to Lincoln today. They're the clips that you've just seen. I did a bit of shopping. I did a book haul in another video. I originally did a haul for this video, but it's pointless because you can't see any of the items. I just got some bikinis from Primark. That was about it. Vegan Kit Kats and some micellar water. So there you go, there's the haul. What I was saying in relation actually to this video is that I listened to If We Were Villains on the way there. I listened to a few chapters because I had some leftover audiobook listening time on Spotify for this month. So I listened to some on the way there and I am really loving it. I'm obviously home now, so my plan for the rest of the evening is to sit down and read it, but I was just touching on the fact that one of the plays that they recreate, that we get a few snippets of in If We Were Villains, is Macbeth, which was really interesting to read straight after reading Foul is Fair, which is like fully based on Macbeth. If We Were Villains isn't, it's just that they're doing Shakespeare plays, but it was definitely interesting to see Macbeth in there and then compare it to how Macbeth was kind of portrayed in Foul is Fair. Obviously, the portrayals are quite different because in If We Were Villains, they are just acting out the play of Macbeth, whereas in Foul is Fair, like it's a different plot, different characters just based on Macbeth. But it was interesting nonetheless to see the parallels between them. And I think that's basically all I said. I talked for about 6 minutes, but it was just nonsense. That's the gist of what I said. So just wanted to fill you in. But yeah, I'm going to sit now and read If We Were Villains for the evening. I'm going to do a bit of editing first, then sit and read. And I think then we're all up to date. I need to actually figure out what chapter I'm on of If We Were Villains, because as I said, I was listening to it on the audio. So I want to figure that out. Hopefully get maybe like halfway through. That's probably ambitious. I'm a very slow reader. And I'll pop back in tomorrow and let you know how I'm feeling about it. But right now I am loving If We Were Villains. I have now finished If We Were Villains. I kind of forgot that I was supposed to update you on this, to be honest. This took me so long to read that I forgot I was reading it for a video. But I finally finished it this morning. And I think the fact that it took me so long to read probably gives you an indication of how I felt about this. It wasn't awful. I gave it 3 stars. This just... I had such... Oh, the sun is in my eyes. I had such high expectations for this. And it unfortunately did not live up to said expectations. As I said, it wasn't bad. And I think the fact that this was a debut, good for you, ML Rio. But it just... A lot of this felt quite disjointed. So I don't even know if I ever explained what this was about because I didn't really know. All I knew, obviously, is that it's based on Shakespeare. So we've got this group of friends, as expected in a dark academia, that go to this prestigious college, university, and they are drama students. And they basically only do Shakespeare plays. And a lot of this book is them kind of in character. You get to see the dialogue. They also use a lot of Shakespearean dialogue and quotes in their everyday speech. So who they are as characters in the book is very connected to Shakespeare characters. Like they all kind of they always get cast as the same type of characters. So you can really build up, if you have a knowledge of Shakespeare. I enjoy Shakespeare. I don't have like the deepest knowledge ever, but I got a general idea from it. If you do have that knowledge of Shakespeare, like a bit more knowledge than me, it would, I think, help you understand the characters in the book. Does this literally make any sense? So if you have an awareness of some Shakespearean characters, it would help you understand like who is who in this book. But I don't think you need that. I think you also do get to know them as their actual selves in the book. I don't think you need that Shakespearean knowledge, but it is a nice little addition into it if you do have that knowledge to see like, oh, I see what you're trying to say about their personality because you've compared them to this character, or they always get cast as this type of character. Does that make any sense? So I like that. I liked all the Shakespearean elements. But the plot just fell a bit flat. I think there was quite a lot going on and it felt quite disjointed to me. There was like different romances, but like obviously this isn't a romance book. The romances weren't fleshed out. But there's different people who have different feelings for people. And then does it say on the back? Yes, there's a murder. And it all just it didn't feel interweaved. It didn't feel connected. A lot of things to me felt underexplained, even though the book is not short. A lot of things felt underexplained and like we were scratching the surface of quite a lot of different areas instead of really getting into the crux of anything. So I just wanted it to be a bit more in depth. And at the end, when it was like reveal after reveal, I just didn't really feel much because I feel like I hadn't been let in. And I feel this quite a lot with Dark Academia, that I just don't feel like I'm being let in to the minds of the characters properly. I feel like everything's very surface level. And that makes sense because they're actors. And a lot of the point of the book is that they act even when they're not acting, if that makes sense. So I get it. Like it makes sense from a writing perspective that we are kept at a distance. That's the point. The characters want everyone to be kept at a distance. But if you're trying to write a book that requires you to get attached and have emotion in order to feel the impact of the events, I need something. I need to not be kept so like out of it. But I did enjoy it. Again, I think as a debut novel, this was great. It just didn't, unfortunately, live up to my expectations. I ultimately enjoyed it more than Foul is Fair. It's very different to Foul is Fair. That one is very kind of... I don't know how to describe that book because it isn't funny. Like, the subject matter at all is not funny, but it feels almost, I don't know how to describe that book at all. But this is very different. Even though the subject matter in Foul Affair is very serious, this book feels more serious, just in the way that it's written. I don't know. But yeah, they are very different. I enjoyed them both, had a good time with both, but ultimately not obsessed with either of them. And I just think, I want to love dark academia so much. Like, when I first heard about this genre before I'd read it, I really thought it'd be like my favourite genre. And I'm still yet to find one that I love. I've liked a few, but I am yet to find a dark academia that I just absolutely love. But anyway, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do give it a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.